Tennessee Valley Railroad Museum in Chattanooga.
Pretty damn hot.
Here, doing the Missionary Ridge local today. We were here last year, didn't have any cameras though. Now we're gonna go into the depot. Okay, I'm gonna go into the depot. I'm gonna start recording again when we get on the train.
Honey, you can sit down right here.
Train will be arriving very shortly.
They'll tell you what car you're in. Don't say any car. No car. How do they tell you?
When you get
We can do this. Hey, we'll throw you on that train in a second. You end up in Mercy, probably Tennessee. That's more cement car, right? Actually, that's a good idea.
least, would you say 95 years? Or would you say 102? Not yet, but I think it will be 102 by the time we return. And the train is farting and making all kinds of train sounds. We are waiting to take our leave. Thank you very much for your attention. Was I in it or you had
Turntable demonstration. Now we have arrived at the end line, and I do say that quite literally. At the turntable over to the right, you're going to see nothing. Or should I say, that is the end of our 3-mile main line, or else. So today we get to do something fun. That turn our look on what is called a turntable, which is what for you. Now this here turntable was built back in 1916 by the American Bridge Company in Ambridge, Pennsylvania for the Central Global Railway. It weighs 80 tons, measures 80 feet long, and is motorized, powered by a 25 horsepower motor. Now, there's a twist. This turntable was not initially built as a motorized table. When it was built brand new, it was built as what's called an Armstrong table, which means back in the days of steam engines, they turned this around, not by machine, they did it by hand. This used to be a hand-powered turntable. It took roughly about 4 people to turn this whole thing around. Here's how they did it. There would have been a pole at each end of the table. So for example, let's say there's one pole here, one pole at the other end. You then had your 4 people. So let's say, once again, 2 are here, 2 are over there. Then, through their might, strength, and determination, they would push on those poles, thus turning this table around. Doing that by themselves, by hand. But that being said, you might notice there are 0 poles. Where did they go? Well, short answer, they're not here anymore. As since being built in 1916, this turntable has since been modernized, and in the 1980s was motorized. So as such, I will not need any volunteers from the crowd this afternoon. However, this is not an automated turntable. It cannot move on its own. So, I do still need somebody to help turn this thing around. Well, you're in luck, because I have with me the strongest man in the world. That man is my conductor, Justin. Go ahead and give Justin a wave. Now Justin's so strong, in fact, he's going to turn our turntable with the power of just one finger. We call this the magic finger. What do you think he'll do with that magic finger of his?
Push the button. Push the switch.
Hey, there you go. You got it. Push a button. Correct. Alright, let's get this show on the road. Let me introduce you to your locomotive here today, the 4617. Built in 1954 by the Electromotive Division of General Motors, EMD for short, for the Illinois Central Railway. When built new in 1954, it was originally numbered the 9043 and was built as a model GP9 diesel electric locomotive. She stayed in that original configuration until 1970, the railway shop in Kentucky to be heavily rebuilt. As part of that process, this locomotive was rebuilt into a GP10 diesel electric type locomotive, which is what you now see it as today, the GP10. GP is short for general purpose. And what that means is that 4617 is a versatile machine. It can do yard switch 1974 rebuild, the engine's cap was replaced with what is now called a long-nosed short-boot cap, which is what it has here today. It was repainted in two new colors of green and orange, replacing its original gray and black, and it was renumbered to Illinois Central number 8346, where it spent time primarily in freight service. At a later point in its life, it would be sold off to the U.S. Army, where it was given its current number of the 4617. Ran with the Army for several decades until being retired in 2016, where he acquired the engine that same year. Now, for most of its time here at the museum, this engine spent its life on our freight division, the Tyner Terminal Railway. Tyner, for those wondering, is a little more eastward here in town. That was until last year, 2025, when it was then transferred to our East Chattanooga division for passenger service, which has been doing ever since. Now, once we finish turning our locomotive around, the 4617 will then run on our train and cover that whole return to the back. So basically, back, front, back. So, how will we do that? Right now, our train's sitting on track 1. We're not going back there just yet. I'm going to take this turntable and move it to track next door. So this is track 1, then this next door is track 2. Alrighty, folks, let's give our crew a big round of applause. And at this time, we're going to head on over indoors.
Going into the back shop, East Chattanooga.
I'm gonna hold you so you don't trip.
Now, do I really want to see 4501 after its new paint job with Tennessee Valley 1824, 610, and there's the beauty, 4501. I know. Here's Southern 630, and there's 4501.
Oh, wow.
This is, whoa! Oh!
Alrighty, I'm gonna go ahead and get us started. Welcome to the back shop tour. How y'all doing? Y'all having fun so far?
Yeah.
Alright. Anyways, well, yes, I agree with you there. It is very hot. Well, this is the third trip of the day. Already sweat. Unfortunately, granted, I also don't have the best attire for this kind of weather. Y'all do. So, but anyways, apart from it being ridiculously hot outside, thank you, Tennessee. Anyways, welcome to the Tool Shops. This is our maintenance and repair facility. This is the place where we take care of and restore all our pieces of historic equipment. Now, the shop complex, as you are currently standing in it, was built back in 1982, and today is called the Tool Shops after one of the founders of our museum, Mr. Robert M. Sewell Jr. Now, in this shop, there is always something going on. As you can see behind me, and kind of the tracks of the shop for a bit, we're busy here today. And so for today's tour, I want to talk about some of the things you can notice behind me. So first, in the background, take a look at that beige colored car there. That is our Pullman sleeping car, the Maitland, built in 1925. Now when I say sleeping car, what I mean by that is that that car back there has beds in it. That is your hotel on wheels for your overnight trips. Now we are restoring the Maitland back to operational condition. As you can see right now, it is still very much a work in progress. But we're hoping to have that car back into service either by the end of this year or sometime early next. Now right behind me is one of our regular passenger coaches, our 907, built in 1947 by the American Car and Foundry for the Central of Georgia. This car was used on a very famous train of theirs known as the Nancy Hanks 2, which ran between Atlanta and Savannah, Georgia, with a layover in Macon. The train itself, Nancy Hanks 2, was named after a racehorse, who in turn was named after Abraham Lincoln's mother, Nancy Hanks. Now, 907s in our shop here today for an actual good reason. If you look at the middle of the car right there, we're putting in a brand new cooling system, because this car behind me has something called AC. The two most magical letters, especially at this time of year. You see, our passenger cars, well, they don't like the summer heat, and I can't say I really blame them in the slightest. So much so, one of them didn't even start today. That's how much they don't like it. That's how our morning's been. Anyways, we're putting a brand new cooling system in the 907, and hopefully this car stays nice and cool. Fingers crossed. Let's hope so. Now, the word you see behind me here today is fascinating, but there is a slight downside. It's expensive. Folks, I cannot stress this enough. Trains are expensive. For example, you might have seen a ski locomotive right outside the shops. That is the 630, built in 1904. Now that locomotive is currently non-operational and stored out of service, but its last major restoration was from 2001 to 2011. Back then, that restoration costed us $700,000. And in today's cost, I'd say it'd be a bit over $1 million. We are what's called a non-profit museum, which means for the most part, we have to raise money ourselves to fund any of the work we see going on behind it. So, how do we do it? 4 ways. Grants, donations, our various freight customers such as Allied Metals, which you saw earlier. And then, the 4th. I am looking at the 4th right now. Yes, that's all of you. Now the tickets that you purchased, the money from those tickets goes directly into all of our equipment and keeps them running so that future generations, such as some of you here today, will be able to see, learn, and enjoy railroad history. Because, ladies and gentlemen, what you are seeing, experiencing here today, this is history. The past of American railroad travel. Not the present, not the future. This is the past. One of our goals here is to help teach about this past, and thanks to all of you, just by showing up, you have contributed towards that very goal. Now that being said, I am often asked from time to time, Jack, why should I care? Well, I have an answer. If you do not learn from history, you are only doomed to repeat it. Once again, that is if you do not learn from history, you are only doomed to repeat it. And with that being said, we're going to try and leave here at about 1:13 p.m. So with that being said, this will conclude our shop tour. If you have any questions at all, feel free to ask me. But if you don't, you can make your way back to our training depot after this time. Thank you all for your attention, and we'll see you back on board.
Thank you. Thank you.
Walk over here.
Don't get that out of your face. Look at the ground.
Okay.
It's really dangerous.
see 4501 over there. Didn't give a shit. In the exhibit building. Very quiet. We're the only ones here. Whoa, the cab of 1504. Where'd he go? He went to the bathroom. This is the cab of 1504.
With a 36-inch gap, she would go completely over engine.
There's really no one here and there's nothing going on, so